Rant and Wade, another podcast. I haven't done this in a while, but I'm joined by Nick Beaton, comedian, producer, writer, everything, man. It's been ages since I've seen you.
Yeah, it's been a while, buddy. It's been quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, in the UK, I saw you quite a bit. You lived in the UK for how long? Were you there for? How long were you based there?
About a year and a half. Not quite, just under a year and a half.
Yeah, and now you're back in Toronto and continuing on the comedy here.
Yeah, I've been still just like I got back and I started doing some writing work and just back into to stand up over here. I like the UK like in some aspects, but I found which I think is probably the opposite of you. But like I like visiting. I don't know if I could live there. Also, I think if I'd have cracked into a few things maybe a bit more securely, I probably would have enjoyed that. But you know,
it is a bit of a free for all, and there was a time where you had to be quirky or have trauma that you would expose first before you're actually funny. It's like, here's my story. It's like, well, are you funny? Yeah, it's been a while for me just being back. A lot of weird things about Canada, just the way the politics and everyone and just the country has gone. So it's been sort of back and forth with life and death. And then, life and death, dealing with America. I feel like, and I've done this with other podcasts, sort of, that we're sort of right now, I studied war and world history in university. We're pretty much in the cycle of war right now. Does it feel like this? Does it feel to you that we're marching, the drums are marching, that we're already there?
Yeah. I've been saying this to a couple of people. Like some people say like, oh, fuck, it's almost World War III or it's going to be world. I'm like, do you not think we're in World War III now? It's just World War III comes with skip the dishes and Netflix. Like it's a modern war, modern times. But like, there's how many major conflicts going on right now? How many different countries have their fingers in all of those conflicts as proxy wars and funding this side, funding like in the Sudan, China is funding both sides. Fuck it, let's see what happens. Ukrainians have gone to Sudan because they know Russians are there, so they can kill Russians, right? Like that's a world war. I don't, like it's happening.
Sure. And you've got drones flying over Poland to test resolve. You've got, and the interesting thing too is people don't think America's involved. For sure the Bell Howells and all the military guys there are testing stuff. This is all. Let's see how we can kill more people. Let's do this drone warfare, because when you have an exacerbated poverty, the easiest thing to give people a job is through nationalism. Those people hate you. Kill them.
Yeah.
It just feels like it just seems like we're further, and people are just like, oh no, it's all good. Like we're watching jobs get shedded relentlessly.
Yeah,
AI taking so many of them. People like don't even know how to use AI.
The unemployment rate in Canada, I read last week, it's up to 7.1%. Like that's horrifitic. Like,
and that's not even the under 25s. If you look at the under 25s, even in China, it's like 20%. And I think in Canada, it's probably like 15 to 20.
Yeah,
that's
under
just
20. The gross, the overall.
Yeah. And then, of course, you look at ageism, too, because anyone over 40 who's ever tried to get a job, it's like, oh, we're not hiring you. You can't do this. You come with baggage and you come with, like, requests, you know?
Well, it's all about why'd you leave your last job and what have you been doing? And I was like, all right, I'm going to be punished.
I got divorced, I drank, got a substance problem.
My boss was a cunt. Like, it's these things are...
But, now it seems like everything's done. And, like, I know some friends who have been interviewed by AI. They're like, hold on, this isn't a real job interview. You did?
I did one of those because I was just trying to pick up some whatever, just some remote work that I could do. The summer's always slow for comedy. So I was like, oh, I'll take a look. And I did one of those interviews and I was like, this is fucked. And then I just bailed. I bailed at the end because it wanted me to like do something. I was like, I don't feel comfortable with this. I also don't want to train AI models. Like it's going to happen anyway, but I don't have to be a part of it. Like you guys do it yourself.
Well, I work a lot with AI. I've done like some sort of programming of LLMs and things like that. But it's just ridiculous when you see companies just firing all these people and with no real, we'll just have AI do it. Okay, well, someone still has to check the work. I mean, AI hallucinates. It gets it wrong a lot.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of scary in terms of that. And you look at, too, I will go back to nationalism, but that Charlie Kirk, there was a big shooting that happened. Whatever people, celebrating he's conservative, it's still someone's dad died, and it's just the gun violence in America. You're just like, Jesus, man, like it distracts all from Poland. Poland's like, hold on a second, we had some good stuff going here, and now you've got this guy dying. And everyone sort of has to jump on top of this. And it's like, why aren't we killing this? Why aren't we killing the CEOs? I'm not all for killing, but, I got a list.
Yeah. Well, that happened with the healthcare CEO last year, right? And I was against that as well. I'm just against it on basic principle, not even like Of course, it's wrong to kill. That should go without saying. But it's not even just that. It's you don't want to start a tit for tat of political assassinations. Like it's gonna just end badly. And right now, obviously, it hasn't just been the right wing figures getting killed. There was the Democratic politician. I forget what she was, whether she was senator or governor in Wisconsin,
Minnesota. Okay,
or Minnesota. Was it Minnesota? Yeah. And she was killed. The guy went at large. He was a right wing fucking nut. Gretchen Whitmer, they had the kidnapping attempt on her. Right wing militia was going to kidnap her. And you got a couple attempts on Donald Trump. You have the healthcare CEO, and now Charlie Kirk. And it's like, okay, like I'm not going to try to argue reason with these people, but I think it's very telling when I put out a post on Facebook and I say something. I put this post out saying, think of something that's your opinion. Now think about somebody disagreeing with your opinion. Now think of that person killing you because they disagree with you for that opinion. And it got blowback for no fucking reason. Like there's no justification for somebody to read that and go, well, this guy's clearly wrong. Like it's like, no, like I don't. Yeah. And I had made a video making fun of Greta Thunberg last week, and people started to try to equate it to that. And I'm like, no, I didn't wish her death. I just said that if she makes it to Gaza, she probably won't be welcome with the open arms from Hamas that she thinks as a young, opinionated woman. They don't tend to love that exact type of person there.
Let me tell you how it's done. I'm a teenager. Let me show you.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I find it really weird, and I find people the people who say like, well, I don't think he should have died, but no, stop with the but. Like there should be no follow up to that. Yeah. Where you go, but the problem is that the left wing often attributes words to being actual violence. So they think that because he says things they don't agree with, which I think are a bunch of the stuff he says is grotesque, right?
Sure.
We shouldn't have had a Civil Rights Act, like it's nuts. But they equate that to an actual violent act and therefore think that any violence met upon him is just reciprocal, where no, he spoke words and this person used a gun. So it's not there's no debate. And I'm tired of like with some of these people having it like, oh yeah, no, I can hear your side. And I'm tired of being the reasonable person with most political, because I literally with comedy try to keep myself apolitical as much as I possibly can. But I lean to the left more than I lean to the right. But there's a couple things that on the right, I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. But so I just try to like navigate these situations with, no, I understand what you're saying, but how about this? And I've tried convincing people, but people just come in with such fucking snark and bullshit to try to like do this gotcha point. I'm like, then just be in your bubble, man. Just listen to all the things that you think are right and never the things that you think are wrong. And that's it. I don't care. I don't care anymore.
It's very difficult, too, because if somebody's fat, you can tell that they're fat. If somebody's rich, you can tell that they're rich. If somebody's stupid, you can't tell. And when it comes down to getting into an argument, you don't know that someone might just have a high school education, or someone might just read propaganda, or someone just might be thick. And sometimes that people believe that there's this equal playing ground where if you actually sit down and you sit down with very intelligent people, it's like, it's no judgment. It's all curious. It's all good. Your opinion's great. But certain people, that vacuum where if they just have to hear their own voice, shut it down. You're wrong. You're wrong. And it's like someone could be an expert on it. No, but I know from a friend. It's like that kind of stuff. As you get older, it's just like, I'm not going to ingratiate this sort of conversation.
No, I can't anymore. I've gotten too old. I'm too old for this shit. But that's the thing. If your opinion is so good and you've arrived at it under such careful thought and reading and different sides of the argument, then you should be able to debate the person having it without yelling over them or resorting to violence to shut them up. When people do that, I'm like, well, your argument can't be very convincing then. You're an ideologue who thinks you're 100% right. So...
yeah, there becomes that volume because correctness where people are like, well, I'm going to be louder than you. Yeah. And it just becomes infuriating. I mean, you talk about right and left. I've stopped believing in right or left, especially being in Canada, seeing politics here. Canada's had the same political two parties for the past 120 years. To tell me that there's any difference between them is just ridiculous when you see that corporations have such an influence on everything now that, founding fathers and people that invented the political dialogues and demagogues would sort of go, this is stupid. We would never allow a corporation to come in, get its interests in there, the Apples, the big techs, and just the obscene wealth of the billionaires. I used to sort of go towards the conservative side because I believe the government should just be a referee. Don't get involved. Don't get too much into it. But now you just see just how involved these corporations are and wrapping their flags around everything. It's just, it becomes sickening.
I don't have a problem with somebody being a billionaire, but I do have a problem in some of the ways in which people become billionaires. And I have no problem with calling out that. Like, it's like, yeah, if you've become a billionaire because you've greased the wheels with bribes and, you know, which is all lobbyists basically are, then yeah, I don't think you should have that money. But I also don't, you know, there are people who are like, billionaires shouldn't exist. And I'm like, well, the only way that happens is if the government takes their money, and that's fucked. Like, I just find it fucked when people, especially on the left, root for the government, like, taking away, like, rights and freedoms that people have. Like, people are just cheerleading that. I find it really off-putting.
Which does happen here. And I mean, I'm fully supportive of the billionaires. What I do have a problem with is the Musks and Zuckerbergs who tripled and quadrupled their wealth in the past 5 years. Yeah. To me, that's a problem. When you have people that have 5 homes and other people have to have 5 jobs. Yeah, those are things where it's not scaled properly, and the corporations can get away without paying tax, and the shareholders are continually fed where everyone else is really struggling. That's a problem with economics, and that's a problem with the government being feckless and not stepping up and going, okay, yeah, you know what? You can still be billionaires. We just got to redistribute this, and we've got to start hitting corporations a bit harder. If you yourself can do it, that's fine. But with the corporations that are making the profit, that's where I have a problem.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that any government could have done over the last 20 years, 30 years is put some sort of fix on housing and housing costs right away. They should have seen it come, but they didn't want to because they make money. It's the same way with, like, no government in Canada is against immigration because it's like it's profitable. Like, they make money off of it. Same thing with housing. It's like they should have just set in stone 30, 40 years ago. Like, housing's not a commodity. Like, you can buy one house and then you can buy a second one, but your taxes on that are this much higher. And then for every subsequent house you buy, it just makes it so that the incentive is you're not going to buy. I lived in a place in Toronto. My landlord had 8 units in that building. He didn't even know how many he had. Like, the real estate company that, like, when they came in, he's like, yeah, he didn't even he forgot about this one, but he has to sell one, so it's going to be yours, whatever. But, like, it was just, you know what I mean? Like, it's just you shouldn't have so many units in a place that you don't, like, know. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, you can buy a commercial apartment building or whatever and rent it out. Like, I understand that those units exist, but I find it crazy that you can buy 8 condos and not know you have them all, and like. Well,
yeah, even worse is the hedge funds and the corporations that are buying up housing. Like, you know, I'm one of those sort of guys that, you know, not to be socialist, but egalitarian, that everyone deserves to have a place to live. Yeah. And particularly with an aging population where we have elderly people that are going to be forced to either work, sell their house, or even worse, elderly people being homeless, particularly with the rise in dementia and healthcare costs. That, to me, is a failure of society. You know, it's one thing kids and parents will be taken care of, but our elderly, there's so many silent voices out there, which I've met in England, so many where it's like somebody dies, they're living by themselves, they don't see their grandkids anymore, and they're just alone, and they don't have anything, and they don't have anyone. And that's really a failing to me in our society. The population getting older, we're not taking care of these people. And you see elderly people, like, working. I was at A&W the other day. There's a woman probably in her 80s, and you're just like, damn, you know, like, she's got to work the 40, 50 hours a week. And, you know, it's whatever choices in life she made or whatever, but you just still feel bad for people when that happens.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know why this reminded me of it, but the Phillies Karen, the one who took the ball, right? So she was shitty, but I think the bloodlust for her was crazy too, to just, like, try to, where does she live? Like, whenever you're on the internet asking where does this person live, you're fucking, you've lost the plot. Like,
when you're on Reddit going and they're accusing this other woman, and even the guy who got the ball was like, look, leave her alone. He's like, it's done. There's no need for a witch hunt. Yeah. She's suffering enough because the people that know her know her. Yeah. And do you need her name? Do you need to get her fired? Do you need to get her canceled?
She did, right? She got fired. And this is the thing. If you look at this woman, she worked for the school board. Like, I think I don't know if she was a teacher or whatever.
But yeah, like, there was the wrong woman that was identified, though. This woman you might be talking about. The woman who said,
really? I didn't see the follow-up on that.
She said, no, yeah. So this woman's like, that's not me. And she put a few things like, I'm a Boston fan. I don't live there.
Okay.
that woman worked in for education, and even the school board's like, she hasn't worked with us for years, but also it's not her.
Okay,
so I don't think she's been fully identified yet.
I fucking read some shit that wasn't, because I heard that she was identified and worked for the school board and got fired. But yeah.
Well, I mean the Polish guy that stole the hat from the base of the kid. I mean, there's that anger and vitriol because that was quite a blatant, like, looking at the kid stealing it, and then it turns out he's a CEO, millionaire CEO for a paving company. People are like, hope he dies, hope he dies. You're like, okay, this is like the vitriol that we have against people. Well, sure, there's some pieces of shit, but
but well, before we knew every fucking thing that was happening around the world, like that Polish guy stealing that kid's hat, how many times do you think that happened from 1980 to 2008? Like there was like so much shit that's happened like that. We just didn't know about it. We didn't obsess over it, and we were more locally based, and like, you know, you read the paper, watched the news for a little bit, what's going on in the world. But they didn't have enough time because there wasn't so much time to fill. That would never be a story that CNN would fucking talk about. Like they would just, you know, like once they, well, I guess CNN is the 24-hour thing. But if you look, like they wouldn't write that in the USA Today, or there'd be no Canadian newspapers writing about that. They'd be like, no, we have so much to talk about that matters. Like,
but it's also, I think that's also when they shut down local journalism, which has always been a sad thing when the local newspapers go away, and all people talk about is like, you know, I go into the newspapers now and you just see like, oh, the news show on Netflix. It's like, oh my fucking Christ, who cares? Who cares? Give me some news. Tell me about something that's interesting. Tell me about people getting screwed over. Tell me about corporations and stuff. And it seems like people go to Reddit for most of their news. Just like in Canada, it seems like everyone goes to Dollarama for their grocery store. No one can afford anything, so they have to rely on other people to give us the information.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I don't consider cuttable in my budget is paying for news. And I don't know why this is ever, like, when you talk about something online, if you do get in a debate or you're with somebody who's like, yeah, I read it in this newspaper, and you try to send them the link, and they're like, oh, there's a paywall. And I'm like, yeah, fucking get a subscription to a newspaper or stop engaging in this conversation at all. Like, if you're not actually, if you're, all you're getting is a news feed on social media or, you know, Reddit or whatever, and you're reading headlines or some synopsis, or then you shouldn't probably weigh in on that topic. Like, that's...
Yeah, and I mean, it's good because sometimes, as you say, some people will send you clickbait, but when someone's actually sends me, like, a lot of guys send me stuff on Substack, and it's a person who knows a lot about a subject, they write about that subject. This is someone who's written papers and books before, and you sort of go, okay, well, this is generally, to me, a valid source. This is someone who actually knows it, studies it. If it's somebody's uncle going, you know, the problem is too many immigrants, it's like, okay, well, I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it in your area in Toronto, but I know in Kitchener we had Conestoga College where they had, it was like 30,000 students a year, mostly from India, and now it's
Conestoga
like
was the one that was hit the hardest. Like every college was, but their whole thing was that, right? They were all international students. That's how they made their money, and it came crashing down.
It did, with greed. My girlfriend goes to school there. And she had noticed because she was in nursing. She said last year, because they've so many thousands less, she's like, there was loads of Indians before, and now there's not. Yeah. And there seems to be that, you know, India was able to get a lot of people in here, but what's fine, you know, if you want an immigrant, you want to come here. What you see is, when you go to Reddit for the local community and the anger and the racism, it's like, okay, well, I don't know if the hatred is that justified. Look, you know, there's a lot of people here trying to make it. I don't know if it's really cool to like just start going, oh, send them all back. You know, it's like an 80s punk song, like bomb the boats, feed the fish kind of thing, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, I think it's I think with immigration, I think it's been too much over the last like 5 years, and under Trudeau, I think his goal numbers were like insane, you know, like there's like a 2-month period where he brought in the equivalent population of London, Ontario. Like that's too much to bring in, and we can't.
If you don't have the homes ready for them, where are they going to stay?
The homes. Like, there's people who like live in major cities who are on 5-year waiting lists to get a family doctor. You know, there's people who just can't get the base. Our system, the infrastructure isn't built to do it. No. So it's got to be a more steady way of going in. It sucks though about having like opinions on these topics that don't line up with, you know, what the progressive would say, but also don't line up with what the crazy right-wing racists would say, right? So you're just like, I think we just need to have sober, calm conversations about what we, you know, what country is it, Switzerland or Sweden? They do a thing where they do an assessment of how many people they can bring in, that would be able to get homes, get jobs, and then that's it. That's where they cut the number off.
Sure.
Which makes sense. Why would you bring people
use
into your
AI
place
for that easily? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Why would you bring people in to like, well, live on the street and don't work?
Yeah.
Like, I don't. Maybe it still would be better than the country they're from. I don't know, but it's not good for the current country. So you gotta just balance that shit out.
I remember having a conversation with an Uber driver, as a lot of guys do, but this guy was telling me he's an immigrant, had been here for 20 years, and he was pissed at the amount of new guys coming in because he was like, look, like they're allowing all these people in. He's like, I'm a builder. I can't get in building. I can't get into it. I need contracts. It's all who you know. And then when it comes to driving, he's like, all these new guys want to be Uber drivers, but for us to get insurance, we have to prove this. And he's like, they didn't even think about it. Like, once we got here, what was going to happen? How do we get everything else? How do we get the doctors? How do we get our driver's license? How do we learn stuff? And it's sort of like, oh, here you go. Come on in. Give us your money. I mean, even my girlfriend at Conestoga, she's paying $40,000 a year as an international student.
Oh, really?
$40,000 a year. And I was like, I'm thinking back to university, what I paid, but I don't even think university's that. I'm like, you should be getting a doctorate for the 40 grand a year.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're still trying to hustle her with other fees. And you sort of go, okay, I get they're making all this money off of it. Still, there's this idea that we're just sort of taking advantage of people. It's like, okay, give us your cash, come in. There should be a place to stay up there. Go over there. Or just go to Toronto, and the cities take the brunt of it all.
The other thing, too, is I would like people who come here to leave their bullshit at home as well. Like the Sikh film that was showing in the theaters, and like I think in Vaughan, Ontario.
Yeah.
Some of the details I know. It was a little while ago, but they firebombed it because they hate the Sikhs. Like, leave that shit back there. Like, don't bring that shit to Canada. Like, it's fucked.
I had a conversation with a young Indian woman who said that her whole thing was, we're going to take over this place. And I was quite shocked when she said it. She was about 20 years old. And just said, you know what? She's like, once we get 1 million, we get 2 million. She said, we make a big difference in this country. Once we have 3, you'll see what happens. And I was like, that seems like a threat. I don't understand. She's like, and this was a person. I was like, I don't think we're going to allow it to happen. Oh no, it's already happening. I was like, okay, well
she's
that's
not
really
wrong.
macabre.
I don't think.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Like, still, you don't say it to someone who's like, I kind of welcome immigrants, and now you're telling me it's not my own country anymore.
That's how brazen they are, and that's why some of the people were saying they're taking over the country. Yes, I know where it's coming from, a hateful place and everything, but like, literally, some of them will say exactly what you just said. It's like they are trying to. So let's, again, calm, rational conversations about this shit and stop pretending that one viewpoint means you're violent and therefore should be shot.
And people are allowed to question. People are allowed, because I'm a quizzical person. But if someone were to back up some facts and say, well, actually, this is what's happening. Granted, good to know. Good to know. I remember, like, even as a student of history, there were times in history, probably about 15 years ago, I thought, Israel's a little pushy. They're trying to get something. You could never say anything. You're an anti-Jew. You're an anti-Jew. If you even said, there's a lot of Jewish people in the entertainment industry, you can't say that. And now it's gone the other way, where it's like, it went from, if you said anything, you were an anti-Semite. I'm like, I'm not an anti-Semite. I just think this is undue influence, and this is it. You can never do it. They shut you down. And now it's almost going the other way, where people are not even looking at history and just going, Palestine, Jews, Palestine, just not even looking at history. It's a shouting platform, and you see these protests. Do people actually know what they're protesting, or are they angry because of nationalism and because we're all poor and we don't have enough work?
Yeah, I find the Israel-Palestine conflict very telling about what people give a fuck about, because I mentioned Sudan before, right? That war has been happening for almost the exact same timeline. The 150,000 people have been killed, 50 million people face starvation, 12 million people are facing displacement, and the reason why no one gives a fuck is because it's two different groups of Muslims killing each other, and they don't care. Like this is one of those situations where I'm like, I hate having this conversation with some people about it, because I can give a lot of like some anti-Israel stuff credence. Like, Netanyahu is a thug. I think the right-wing extremists in Israel that think that they should have all of the West Bank because the Torah tells them are fucked, and I don't like religious extremism. I also think that the country hates Netanyahu and hated him before the war started, and they wrote articles in their free press about it, and people protested. But I don't mind admitting that to somebody in a conversation against like talking about this. But the people that I'm talking with, if they are the free Gaza, free Palestine, they will never admit that Hamas is bad. They will always find a way to say, yeah, but it's just the reaction that happens, and this is how it goes, well, then this is how it goes the other way. You know what I mean? Like, if it's how it goes is Hamas is going to do these things, then it goes that Israel is going to do these things, and you don't get to argue about what's fair or not like we're on the playground. This is a war now. They started a war. The war is going. I think it's been going on for too long. I think there's probably other strategies they could have used, like them attacking in Qatar the other day. I think they should have done something similar to that at the very beginning. Maybe not the missile, but like send the Mossad in and kill the top members of Hamas.
Make their cell phones blow up or something.
Yeah, like get the top members of Hamas, get them out of there, and then you wouldn't have had to bomb Gaza as much. It would have cut off the head of the steak and then send in some troops and blah, blah, whatever, right? There's probably other ways they could have done it. However, I am not a military strategist, so I don't pretend to know what the best way is. But I do think that like the bombing of Gaza has gotten way out of hand. And again, I can admit that all in an argument, but then people will just not admit this other aspect about Hamas. And I don't find these people having good faith conversations. It's just I can't talk with them. Like,
it's very difficult. But and to your point, when you see people in trouble and they're getting the shit blown out of them, they got no place to live. Let's take a pause. Let's take a pause on this, because even as you said, there's a lot of higher ups and a lot of people who are expats of Israelis who are like, Netanyahu's crazy. Like, he's just doing it too much. Like, pretty brazen, attacking Qatar, who's like kind of an ally. Like, they're one of the softer ones, and the Muslims there are going, look, we'll try to broker peace. And the idea was that these guys were coming to consider the U.S.'s agreement for peace. Israel's like, no, we got this. It just seems a bit right to me.
Yeah, that aspect of it was a little fucked, but
and when you have Israel, whose history has been a lot of tragedy and being chased down, you sort of go, can you not see it from the other side? Can you not see that wiping these people off the face of the planet, this genocidal act, is really something that you were against and we all supported, like how horrible it was?
Yeah, I do find that weird, like when people don't really think about where Israel formed, how it formed, right? Is 1948, right? 3 years after 6 million of them were exterminated.
Yeah.
And the UN gave them that, they partitioned the land up and said, okay, you guys both live here. It was immediately rejected by Jordan and Egypt and Lebanon, all the surrounding areas, because there was no Palestine at that point in time. All those areas were owned by those countries. They invaded. Israel took some land. Over the years, more and more invasions, more and more terrorist acts, more and more IDF. I'm committing war crimes as well. There's no way the IDF, no military in the world has not committed war crimes. Like, it's just, and again, can admit that. But please just admit to me that, like, and you don't have to do these things where it's like, oh, the beheading of babies was debunked. Like, I don't even know if it was, but I don't even need that, to prove my point. Or from the river to the sea doesn't mean genocide and the elimination of Israel. Like, oh, it does. Like, it's just because you're college students. It reminds me of when they changed the definition of racism to mean only white people can be racist. It's like, it's a very Ivy League educational sort of way of looking at the world, right? Like, no, the people who said it, they didn't know what they meant. I do now. I know that they didn't mean genocide. They just got it wrong back then. Like, no, that's what they meant. Like, they want Israel wiped off the face of the earth. So, yeah.
The lack of critical thinking, and even, when you look at university, and I went, got a degree, and you're sort of like, oh, now would I go? Because, like, when you just see a lot of the garbage, particularly if in politics or in history, it's like, is there a balanced agenda? Because it seemed like a lot of, more conservative, or people got pushed out of these universities for more radical thought. People are publishing crazy books. And you're like, okay, is a university degree even mean anything anymore? And if it does, are you just going to be sort of corrupted by just people talking out of their ass?
Yeah. I think, I do think a lot of people, I think universities are supposed to be a thing. You go, you open your mind, you expand yourself, and but from what look, I'm talking about this like third, fourth hand. I don't really know what goes on inside universities, other than there's some trusted people like Jonathan Haidt or something like that, who's Jonathan Haidt, who talks about, the coddling of the American mind. what's happened inside these universities, that they don't want to be challenged, that they don't want to have ideas that they don't want to hear. So and he seems like a very good faith actor, so I take that, as if it's probably true, or at least somewhat true. But I do think that university has just become, a bubble, like a bubble of like-minded thought. There's a National Post put out a survey the other day of saying that most Canadians and Canadian universities are afraid to express their opinion. And that's just been a thing that's been going on for years. People don't want to express their opinion at work. I don't want to express my opinion on this stuff, and that's my fucking job, is to express my opinion and joke around and whatever. But I write something about Palestine on Facebook, and I don't know why I do it. I try not to, but if I do, it's like all these people just come in and they're like, well, fuck you. And I'm like, I'm sorry that you don't hear the other side ever.
Sure.
And it's this jarring to you. But yeah, just open your mind a little bit. None of us are there. None of the people that I'm arguing with are there. So I don't understand why we can't have I'm not saying you can't see the images and still feel something about it, but everybody needs to distance themselves a little bit from it emotionally and from some morally superior thing, and just have the fucking conversations.
The armchair experts that sort of, I listen to a podcast and these guys, it's like, that's really no credence to any opinion. I'm always open to listening to other opinions and being curious about things, but sometimes you say this banality of people just going on blah blah blah, and you see sometimes people just talking at a party. I'm like, I'm not gonna get involved in this.
That's the thing I hate having to fucking bite my tongue when other people don't feel like they have to, and they know that there's going to be enough support from their side. Because look, we're in the entertainment industry, we're in the arts, we're in comedy. Most of the people we know are fucking left wing, and some of them to a fault. It's very bad. But they know that I make this post on Facebook, and all of the people that I follow me, whatever, they're all more that way. So when somebody comes in with their bullshit, snarky takedown that think they got a gotcha, they know they're going to get people coming in liking their shit, whatever. Sure. But you know what? It makes them so much weaker, and this is why they're so much worse at expressing their ideas and bad at being persuasive, because they don't have to. They never have to. They just sit around all saying the same like-minded things, and then somebody says I don't know, maybe closing the U.S. border for a bit wasn't bad. What the fuck?
It's the circular nature of history that that we continue on, and people fail to recognize the same similar traits and things that we've done, whether it's what we're going through right now, we've done through many times before. What do you feel? I mean, when Trump was first ran for the nomination, 2015 or whatever that was.
Yeah.
I bet on him. I was working for DraftKings at the time, and I was like, I'm betting he's going to win. This was when it was all the Republicans, 20 candidates, and I bet him to win, and he did.
Yeah.
And I thought it was funny, and everyone's like, you're a Trumpist. I'm like, no. I was like, this is a reality TV show host. He's going to win because he talks loud. He has Mark Burnett behind him, who's one of the biggest producers, who's still behind him. Great, brilliant television producer who produced everything for him. And now watching it, you're just sort of like, okay, it's interesting because he comes in bombastic. I think he sets the bar high for a lot of politicians to actually do stuff and get stuff done. However, the stuff he's doing and getting done,
insane.
You sort of question it. Is this, you sort of talk about the alternate universe and things that are going on now, and everyone's so marveled at these alternate universes. It feels almost this way, doesn't it? Looking at what's going on in America, even though the tariffs haven't really bit us yet, does it feel just this surreal lampooning going on with having America? And
I've been accused of having, this is why I feel like maybe I'm onto something right here. I get called a conservative just as much as I get told I have Trump derangement syndrome, because he's fucking deranging. So I watch it, the tariffs were crazy. The openly talking about making us the 51st state was egregious, and it was it was called out by us, and but not as much
and Greenland too. I want Greenland. I want Canada.
Not as much by some of our allies, and I wish they were a little more full-throated about it.
Sure.
I think it was nuts, but there was conservative pundits that I heard saying this is, threatening our best allies, and with this stuff is ridiculous, and it achieves nothing. It's just insane. It only can make tensions for no reason. So yeah, I was on him about that stuff. I'm on him about ICE masking and arresting people. You're a federal officer. You have to show identification in your face. If you think it's going to... I think the people that are doxing these guys is terrible as well. They are just doing their jobs, but I also think their jobs are being directed in such a terrible way to ambush people at Home Depot and stuff. I think the worst things that I've seen were the deportation of people to a third-party country in a maximum security prison with no due process, and people saying, well, they were here illegally, they don't deserve due process. It's like, no, everybody deserves it. Like, it's literally, the Constitution says every person is created equal, not every citizen, every person. It's just treat them, and all you have to do is do the due process, and then when it turns out, he actually was like this gang member, if that's what ends up happening, then send him, fine. But
instead of, you just want a trip to Africa, unwillingly. It's weird too, because I watch a lot of NFL, and ICE has commercials on now, and they're recruiting during the NFL saying, are you a former law enforcement? Do you really want to do a good job for America? And you sort of wonder, and you look at that Hyundai factory where, obviously there was a lot of illegals working there. That's fine. I don't know how many factories there are. But if you want people to build stuff in your country and come build your factory here, by the way, we're going to raid it and charge you with fines and get rid of all your people. I mean, it really says, this sort of land of the free is not really something that you really want, I think, with America. It really has, really on tenterhooks right now.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we both know people, comics who've moved down there and stuff, and you sometimes you just have conversations with them, and they're like, I'm like, I got one foot out the door, all the time now, just waiting for that one thing that's like, okay, can't do this. Sending military into and the National Guard into these cities and stuff. It's crazy. I mean, police work is police work. Military is military. I listened to a really good podcast. I know we were just talking about that, but a guy, like an expert on like this type of relation, and just saying like, military people are not good at police work. It's not the same type of job. So it's either train them to do it, in which case you're just weakening your military now, or train more police officers. But like, and crime is high in the States. And it's high for lots of different reasons. It is high because of the Democrats who want to be super weak on crime, and like, I think bail reform makes sense, but I also think that the idea that no one should, there's just people out there who think no one should ever be incarcerated. And it's like, no, these are violent offenders. It's the same thing with like people who have mental illnesses that are on the streets and they attack people, and people, they only go to the sympathy for that person. But it's like, no, but this person was just attacked. They were either violently beaten up or killed. You got to have some degree of sympathy for the victim in that scenario. But
like a Ukrainian girl on a train.
That one was nuts. It was nuts. And that happened, I didn't even realize it, because they only started talking about when the video came out. That happened in August 22nd. And it took until like September 6th or 7th for people to talk about it, because the video came out. And I wish that the left wing and the more left-leaning media would stop handing Republicans these fucking wins by being like, see, they cover it up because the identity of the person and the perpetrator and the identity of the victim, and it's just, stop giving them those wins. Just show it. I
want to chase someone at a baseball game, but not someone who's killed someone on a train.
Yeah, it's nuts. I don't know what their fear is. I think they think that, well, if we show the person that it was a black guy who did it, that will make people racist. And it's like, I hate to break it to you, man. Racists are racists anyway. They're not getting less racist or more racist because of videos they see. Like, if you're inclined to see that video and go, fucking black people, man, like, then you're a problem. Like, that's a shitty way to look at it. But it's crazy to not show it, and not showing it makes it worse. Like in the UK, there was that fucking thing. They held up the guy who stabbed the kid in the school, right? Yeah, and it was just like, he wasn't like, everybody was jumping to conclusions of it's probably like a Muslim terrorist or whatever, right? And it turned out to be like a guy who, was he born in Wales, or he moved,
his family had moved to Wales, so he was like, but he was Welsh. But again, it was mental health problems, just like this guy, undiagnosed mental health problems, because the healthcare system or whatever it is can't get these people and go, look, they shouldn't be on the street. They shouldn't, be in a prison. They should probably be in a facility where we can deal with whatever these people are dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah, so the guy in Wales, with like the riots that ended up happening and the protests and stuff that ended up happening afterwards were just a direct result of hiding the identity of the perpetrator. I don't know if the identity had to come out, would those protests have still happened anyway? It's very possible, or some degree of them. So I'm not saying it's a fix all, but it's just better to err on the side the noble lies that the institutions want to tell people. It's bad. It's provably bad. They just keep doing it over and over again as if it's going to change. It's just bad. It's a bad way to go.
A friend of mine's a reporter here in Canada, and said that there's a lot of crimes being committed by people, immigrants, and a lot of the Canadian media is now has been told not to print their names, because if you print a name that's obviously a foreign name, people are going to start getting racist. So they're just putting just male, and you sort of go, well, I think we want a bit more honesty and truth. Like, what is happening here? Is there an epidemic? You know, there was 2 guys from Scotland who or 3 guys from Scotland, family from Scotland, who murdered a guy in Owen Sound, Indian guy who was running a restaurant. Turns out these guys were travelers, as you know, in the UK, what travelers are, but they're from a traveling community, and they killed this guy in Scotland, in Canada, and they didn't want their identity coming out because they thought it'd be racist to mention that they were travelers that Canadians wouldn't know.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's just like, I'm just stop protecting us. Just give us the information and let us make our opinions up. It's the only way to do it. Like, I can't think of one instance where it's better to lie than tell people things. You know,
well, I mean, it's also, there's also like a lot of times too, is living in England, and I've got a lot of friends obviously in Canada, where there's news that come out, and I'm like, oh, you guys hear about, like, there was one thing about Trudeau, right? And some French press had picked up that he had been involved with some chemical sex parties at a party, that some Russians had captured this, and that, you know, this was credible that in Paris they had footage of him involved, like kind of Charlie Sheen style, in some debauched partying. Now, no one really mentioned the fact that when Trudeau, like, when he gets divorced from his wife, everyone's like, oh, he's divorced, but that would be huge news anywhere. A leader gets divorced. Why did this happen?
Yeah. And
then, you know, Trump basically, he quits as soon as Trump starts bullying him. But I would sending this, and my friend's like, I've never heard any of these articles. And he's like, I've never heard, how come I'm not getting this? And I'm sending him articles to place in France and Germany, articles, things like that. I'm like, you haven't read these news? He's like, we don't get these news, Wade. We don't get any of this.
Yeah. It's a shameful state. It's a shameful state that we're in. And, you know, to talk about comedy for a second, this is the thing that I found the craziest about the Charlie Kirk thing, but it's a little more than that. It's with other things. It's the way the comedians, I think, nowadays are okay with the censorship of comedians. Like, to see people posting about, like, Charlie Kirk getting shot and being like, you know, this is what happens, or, you know, I don't think you should shoot people, but, you know, when you say the shit he says, this is what's going to come. And I'm like, dude, you're a person who says stuff for a living.
Yeah.
Cheering over the fact that another guy who says stuff for a living was shot for the stuff he was saying. And you just, I don't know why they can't connect the very easy dots. Right now, if your view is, well, the right people are getting killed, eventually that swings, and it's just going to be them killing you for other reasons, right? Like, it's just, it's not a slippery slope argument. It's just a natural course of things. As long as it's not okay when it happens to your side, it's not okay when it happens to the other side. Just stop.
How do you find the state of, like, the political statement of comedy these days? Because it used to be when we were growing up, you had some guys like, there was Dennis Miller or guys like that, but there are people that actually talk politics, or people actually discuss things a bit intelligently. But I found here too, where I've mentioned a couple things and the audience just shuts up and they don't want to talk. They just want, give us a sex joke, give us something dirty. We don't want to think seriously. Do you find that happening? Or do you find that it's being embraced at all? Or
I mean, I talk politics, but I also talk, like, social issues, and I find I connect the politics in a palatable way. That's what I've tried to do. So that's usually what I talk about. I talk about what's going on in the world, right? And I think you know, it's fun. It's a challenge to take what's a divisive thing that you could be pissing both people off with. Like, I have an Elon Musk joke about him doing the Nazi salute, and it pisses off Elon fans, but it pisses off the people who just miss the point, right? Who don't I'm like, because at one point in time in the joke, I say, like, I'm not saying he's a Nazi. And people are like, he's definitely a fucking Nazi. What are you talking? I was just like, well, I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't think he's a Nazi, but I think he physically did a Nazi salute. You know what I mean? Like my eyes saw it. So yeah, online is where it sucks. I love live comedy. Live comedy's fine. You can set up a premise well, take people for a walk through it. Most people are there being like, yeah, you know, as long as you're being practical. Like if you're super partisan, you're going to piss these people off or the other people off. But I think if you're like kind of like playing the reasonable people, that's where most people are, is some version of like the middle. That's, you know, I've been studied. People know that that's the case. So I think if you're walking through and just going like calling balls and strikes, most people go for it, especially if, layer it with jokes and try to be fucking as welcoming as you can. So I think doing political comedy is good. And I think there's a lot out there, but I do think there's a lot of grifters on both sides who very much play to their side of things when they're doing comedy. So it's just like, it's good that it's kind of getting to that point where I don't think it's working as much anymore. You know, like the long gone are the days where you could just go up and say, so I'm bisexual, and get claps. Now people are like, yeah, everybody is. So let's move on.
Okay.
Or if you go and, you know, like a right-wing edgelord type comic, you know, you see the audience just going, oh, shut the fuck up, man. Like, you know, I feel it. And I hope that change comes.
Have you found like the state of the comedy industry? Because, you know, Just for Laughs goes bankrupt. They have a lot of assets. And it just seems the media here, I mean, it's always been a struggle to get stuff done. You know, I've made television here, and it's very difficult even now. But you're watching a lot of these multinational companies going broke in Canada, whether it's the animation companies. What do you find the state of Canadian entertainment? Because it seems we're just exporting, like, love it or list it. And that's the only show we seem to export, and the rest is, you know, garbage. But it just seems there's not a lot of opportunities for Canadian artists.
I don't know if it's changed, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's changed at all since I've gotten into the industry. I don't know when Canadians made more TV. I think probably in the 80s and 90s there was actually like not a bad amount.
Comedy Network used to do a lot. I mean, my show, other shows, they used to commission it. I used to be able to go and contact a commissioner at a network and go, I got an idea for you. Impossible now. Impossible in the UK, impossible in America. You can't be an independent company. And also, they want you to make your own pilot. They're like, okay, we want you to spend, good idea, we want you to spend $1 million on a pilot. Yeah.
Which is crazy. And then you have to find a production company that'll do it for you, basically, right? Like, so it's, I don't know. I mean, I don't work in a lot of that industry anymore. I don't like, I've put in writing packages for jobs over the years, you know, haven't heard anything. Even though I've written for stuff before that, it's just whatever. They don't want to hire me. So I just kind of all I'm focusing on right now is live stand-up and then my own sort of like content creation stuff. So you can follow me on Instagram at Nick Beaton Comedy, anybody watching. Guys, I just write stuff and put up reels and give little rants or jokes or sketches or whatever. And it's all you can do right now. It sucks that is the nature of it, where you just have to get followers. But I guess it's what you wanted to do anyway. You just did it in another way. But obviously the social media and algorithms and all this stuff is kind of disgusting too. So I don't know. As long as you're doing just what you think is funny, then I think that's the only path to take. Just write what you think is good. Keep working on it. Keep getting better at it. Because there is not going to be a TV show that in Canada that does anything for you other than gives you a nice paycheck for one season before they cancel it, because they never do second and third seasons of anything.
No, I know. Wait, now what about Saturday Night Live? I don't know if you saw, but they hired a whole new cast, and they're all influencers. They're all TikTok comics.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And they fired a lot of the venerable ones. I don't even know. I haven't watched Saturday Night Live in ages anyway, because in the UK we just never got it. Literally never got it. And it's just been clips. Do you find that there is this growth, or have you seen the influencers in comedy that people maybe haven't spent as much time writing as they have been doing sketches on TikTok?
Yeah, that's so obvious. It's like, there's so many people who that's what their focus is, and I'm focusing on it a lot right now myself, because I am trying to get followers and I'm late to the game. Like, I haven't really been creating necessarily a lot of stuff on those platforms, but I've also been doing stand-up for over 20 years, right? So when I'm still working on stand-up and I know how to treat it as a thing, these guys come in and go, okay, so there's live performance and there's this, and I'm going to focus on this the most and get better at this. And then when it comes to live performance, it will be lacking. And like, it's very obvious that like people just don't know how to handle a live crowd, don't have good timing or delivery, because it's something that you do, you have a natural inclination for, but then you build and get better at as you start learning things, right? So yeah, just people are more geared towards that, which I guess is one way to go. I just wish they would stay at a live comedy then. Like, you do your thing, we'll do our thing. Because live is different. Like, a live performer can still film some stuff. A person who only does film doing live, it's going to be a learning curve. So just don't necessarily stay out of it, but get better at it. Like, it's like a thing you're going to want to do.
So what happened with Just for Laughs then? Because I was sort of out of the picture. I mean, it was never worked a lot. I knew that there was Howie Mandel had bought it. I mean, they have a lot of assets. That's, to me, as someone who works as a television producer, I'm looking, they have a lot of assets. So no matter what happens, the live is not going to make you money. The assets, the gags, all these other things, that's where you make your money. But they just seem to inflate it, pat all their pockets, and then they're broke. But it's back, or what?
Yeah, it's back. It's been back. Like, there's been multiple years of it. It's not back to the same level it was. They're definitely using more Canadian comics than they used to, because it's more affordable for them to do so. I don't really know, honestly. There was some shit that happened where somebody sued them for such an amount of money that they were, close to filing for bankruptcy, or ended up filing. I can't really remember. And there was a couple entities like that they had that were profitable still. Like, their on tour stuff was still something that was working. That's why there was like JFL Vancouver that was still going or whatever. But yeah, I guess somebody probably came in and just bought it basically, and or whatever, did something to save them, because they're going again. And it is like, it's a name worth buying that does have that has the assets, as you say, and it's so eligible for government grants and different things to get money. So that's what I always found crazy. They take in millions and millions every year in government grants, and they declare bankruptcy. I'm like, I think they were overpaying some of those U.S. acts, though, like to get like a Pete Davidson up and giving them like $250,000 or some insane shit or whatever.
Yeah, didn't the Gilbert Rozon also, there was like a guy who edited for him or did some like little animations, and he promised him a job for life, I think. And then and then the guy's like, they shut down. He's like, I've got a contract. You gave me a job for life.
Which is a dumb contract to sign.
Unless you're the guy signing it, who's like, I'll take that contract for life. I just have to do some shit. And what's the state of comedy now? Because I haven't been performing. I don't do these kind of stages as much anymore. I just do some open mic still, just to get a little fresh. But what is the state of comedy, would you say, right now in Canada?
I don't know, man. It's not as good. I hope it gets better. I think there's like, I don't know. I think it's a mixed bag. I think there's like some good clubs, some bad clubs. I think it's a little cliquey. I'm a little out of it too, because I'm older, but all I do is just find the rooms where I can work on stuff, so I can work on stuff. So that's it. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I still just do yucks, and I go on their Tuesday, Wednesday nights to just try out new material, because there's crowds there and I can work on stuff. That's it. Just working on new material. Like, I put out a special last year, and now I'm just like, I'm just working towards getting material together to eventually put out another one. Like, it's just, that's it.
Are there tours? The ability to tour like we used to do, like Western tours, Eastern tours?
Nah, it's like, I think you could probably set something up, but there's definitely like less support for it. Like, there would be a way to set it up before where you had places to easily stay along the way. Maybe you had to get a hotel room on your own a couple nights or crash on somebody's couch. But now it's like, you're kind of out here, and like, that's it. Like, you got to find all these, and it's like, well, it's not worth it, like, to go out there. And
how did you find, I mean, you said about the UK scene, but how do you find the global scene? Have you been to Asia, or I see a lot of guys doing cruise ships as well?
No, I haven't done a cruise ship. I wouldn't mind, actually, like, whatever, just for the fucking money, and it would be fun to go on a cruise ship. But I don't know how my material will go over on those things. I know they're very strict about like what you talk about. Not even just words. It's like, don't fucking talk about this topic at all, or
don't bring up Israel.
Certainly not. Although I don't have any stand-up bits about Israel, because I'm like, no, I don't got it. I don't think I have the chops. There was one video that was going great though about this Italian guy. He was in like I think in a club in England, and he was talking about Israel-Palestine, and it was hilarious because it was just like he just felt like enough of a fish out of water, but he was talking negatively about like Hamas and Palestinians, and so like I was like, whoa, but like the crowd was like, holy shit, did he just say that? It was good. No, I last time I did anything international was I was in Dubai in 2018.
Okay.
So that was interesting. The shows were fun. It's all expats, right? You know those those shows are.
Yeah.
But I found it interesting. I don't know if I'd ever go back though. Like I felt like always this underlying level of being unsettled, like just like I know it's not hard to step out of line in this country, and I just don't want to.
I did a show there, and I said, you guys treat Indian people like there's a billion of them because of the way that their labor laws were. They would, it only goes to a certain temperature, and then they would put a thing to stop the temperature gauge from hitting 45. So it's always at 44.5. And you just see all these laborers working. And I was like, this is horrid. Like, you're treating these people. And I was like, like Filipinos, they're just like, oh, those are our maids. I'm like, so the whole country of those people, they're just your maids. You know, like it was just this. Yeah. And again, there was just so many expats. And when I was doing crowd work, I was like, all of you people failed somewhere else that you had to come here. Like you're either running away from debt, you have family issues, but you're all failures. So don't celebrate it. You're living the life, because as soon as you lose your job here, you're gone in a week. A week you're gone if you don't have work.
Yeah.
They didn't
it's
like
crazy. No,
they didn't like that honest truth. And when I was going there too, there was a tiff between UAE and Canada over some military landing rights. And so when I landed, they're like, we can't let you in. You don't have a permit. So I had to go and stay in Qatar for a night and then come back to Dubai. And I was not happy. I'm like, who hates Canadians? Like literally, who hates Canadians?
Yeah.
We'll finish it up there, man. But what's going on with you? So what's happening next? So you can pump the stuff you're doing. I don't even know who listens. Pump some people in the UK, but what kind of things are you what would be ideal for you? What are you doing? What's the ideal dream for Nick Beaton in terms of entertainment?
Just like I want to just keep doing what I'm doing, but more of it. I just want to. That is why I'm trying to get the followers and stuff like that on social media, so that I can I can be one of those influencers with scare quotes, but somebody who has enough people that I can book a club and take more than just my rate and get like a door fee, because I can fill the club, and the club will be like, with the way it's happening with a 22-year-old influencer where they're selling out a whole tour of clubs and they've never stepped on stage live before. I would at least have that to back up. Like I have the material to back this shit up.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so that's it. I love writing jokes, love telling jokes. I love talking about interesting things. And I just want to just do it more and for more people.
That's good, man. It was nice chatting with you. It's been too long, and hopefully I'll see you around next year around. And thanks to everyone for listening to Rant and Wade. I'm back. More podcasts coming up.